The Model 3 was Tesla's first mass-market vehicle, and it is now the world's best-selling electric vehicle. There are single-motor rear-wheel drive and dual-motor all-wheel drive options available. If speed is important to you, don't overlook the performance variant, which can sprint from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 3.3 seconds. The government is offering subsidies on certain Model 3 variations. Hey everyone, and welcome to Tesla News, where we bring you the newest and best updates about Tesla and Elon Musk. For daily videos, please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's talk about the Model 3 today. It's been a little overshadowed in the last year by some other cars in the Tesla lineup like the Model S and Model Y, but the good old Model 3 is still one of the best cars on the market. And with some fresh new updates that are just starting to roll out worldwide, the Model 3 has managed to become an even more compelling vehicle and easily the most bang for your buck of any electric car on the market. So let's get into it. The term Standard Range Plus is no longer used, which is great because it's clumsy to say, and anyone who wasn't around for the original launch of the Model 3 wouldn't know what the Plus meant anyways. Now, the base level is simply Model 3, and is classified as rear-wheel drive if you want dual motors, and all-wheel drive in a Model 3 that can come with either long range or performance depending on which aspects you want to prioritize. It drops to $267 with the 19-inch sport wheels, which add $1,500 to the price. If you want the best of both worlds, you could take the weird-looking hubcap off of the Aero wheels and find pretty decent-looking black rims underneath. You just need to buy a kit to cap them off for about $30. You lose some range when you take the hubcaps off, but you can always put them back on for longer trips when you want the extra miles from the little Tesla. The new top-tier edition of the Volkswagen ID.4 with 2 motors and all-wheel drive accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 5.7 seconds. Then there's the price, which has increased by $7,000 since the beginning of 2021. From 38 to 45 grand, it's terrible. But it's understandable in many respects. For example, fundamental economics states that if demand for a product is high and supply is low, the price will rise, which is exactly what happened with the Model 3. The Hertz car rental company has undoubtedly helped to offset demand, but even if they hadn't swooped in to buy 100,000 cars, there would still be more demand for cars than Tesla can meet, which won't change until the new Gigafactory in Texas gets up and running, which is likely still a year away. Other external factors such as increased material costs, labor shortages, supply chain breakdowns, and all of that good stuff are currently influencing far more than simply electric automobiles. Just wait until Black Friday this year, when there will be insufficient merchandise to go around for those enraged masses. Tesla has been throwing us one by one by now, giving the midnight silver metallic color for free, which is fantastic. Returning to the performance data for 2022, if you don't like white cars, you've saved $1,000. What's behind the spec change? With the Model 3, there's one key modification that practically turns it into a completely new car that's better in almost every way. The most recent version of the Model 3 preserves all of the increased features from 2021. Tesla's proprietary in-house designed window glass maximizes sound insulation and robustness. Satin black trim is used on the outside and interior. As a result, the exterior is devoid of chrome, and the inside is gloss black. Tesla's Octo-valve heat pump is used to keep the HVAC system as energy efficient as possible, and the Model 3 comes with a HEPA air filter, though it's not quite big enough to achieve the bioweapon defense mode of other Tesla vehicles. And every trim level comes standard with a power lift trunk lid. The Tesla version-based autopilot system will be introduced in the first half of 2021 and will run through 2022. This move, according to the researchers, minimizes the amount of noise in the car's inputs, resulting in a smoother and more confident autopilot system. The 2022 Model 3 for the US market has been converted to LFP or lithium iron phosphate-based battery cells. This configuration has been standard for Tesla in China since the start of production there in 2020. But this is a new battery design for North America. This new cell is only found in the rear-wheel drive Model 3, and it brings a bunch of changes over the previous battery. This cell format is known as the 2170 and is utilized by other high-end electric vehicle manufacturers like the Revivan and Lucid, although Tesla builds their own modified version of it. On the other hand, the LFP battery cell, which is created by a China battery supplier, called a cattle since they utilize normal old iron instead of those rare fancy metals, is increasingly energy dense and efficient, but is also quite sluggish and expensive to produce. The advantages of the LFP cells are that they are far more resilient than a typical lithium-ion cell with a nickel cathode, and they are relatively inexpensive and simple to build. But what does any of this mean for the customer? Well, primarily upsides and only one drawback. Anyone who has had an electric car before knows that you are not supposed to charge the battery to 100% every day. Instead, you should only do it if you know you will be going on a lengthy trip. Even if you do everything you can to care for your battery, it will lose capacity over time. Real-world use of the Model 3 appears to show that you lose around 4% of total battery capacity every year. When it comes to charging percentages, the new LFP batteries are less sensitive. You can freely charge the 2022 model up to full capacity every day without ever having to worry about the health of the battery pack. It doesn't matter. And because iron is such a stable element, it won't degrade anywhere near as fast as the NCA lithium-ion chemistry. There really shouldn't be any loss in total range over time with the new battery. A third advantage of the iron-based chemistry is that it does not burst into flames when the battery pack is damaged. We know that lithium-ion batteries are vulnerable to something called a thermal runaway, which is where even if one cell overheats, it spreads to the rest of the pack, and the whole thing combusts. LFP does not do that. In the Model 3 long range, the driver range of the LFP-based Model 3 is compared to the NSA battery pack. The long-range Model 3 gets you 358 miles on the Aero wheels, but we know that we should only use 90% of that capacity for daily driving. So that brings us down to 322 miles in regular use. Add in a couple of years of battery age at 4% total capacity loss per year, and we get down to a daily driver range of 296 miles. If you plan on owning the car for 5 years or more, then the standard Model 3 will be the better option. Another fascinating real-world difference between the two batteries is that the lithium-ion NSA battery loses its ability to regenerative brake at 100% charge because the battery is full, and even a 90% charge, the regain is fairly weak, whereas the LFP battery still allows for regenerative braking at 100% charge, and the effect isn't weakened at a high charging levels, which would likely result in more real-world range for the LFP. Of course, there is more to the story. On the downside, the LFP cell has a lower energy density than an NCA lithium-ion battery cell, so it has less energy capacity pound for pound. This means that to achieve similar results, more LFP cells are needed in the car, and more cells equals more weight, which could be why the car is a little slower. Tesla raised the battery pack size until the range was equalized, although this made it a little more difficult to accelerate quickly. Another reason for the reduced performance could be that Tesla replaced the old motor with a less powerful and efficient product. They could even be using the same motor from the all-wheel drive version to reduce their parts catalog because those have a little less torque than the rear-wheel drive motor we're familiar with. No one seems to know exactly what the case is. So this was all for today. Add your thoughts in the comments section below. Also, like, subscribe, and share our channel, and stay with us till our next video. We will see you soon with our next video. So be with us and go watch our new Tesla Model X in 2022 video on your left to see some positive aspects about it as well. Or you can also watch Tesla Model Y, 10 things you didn't know about, on the right, and learn more about the Tesla world. Thank you so much for watching.